Ready?
Okay, I am ready.
Okay.
Is it starting?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, hi everyone. I'm Laura,
I'm Steph.
and welcome in the Sister Circle podcast.
Welcome.
The circle where, as women, we share,
Learn,
grow,
heal.
and thrive. This is our really second episode of our really first series, which is the power of healing stories.
Excited. I'm very excited.
Yes, and that's the episode that we call the dives because we are going to dive into the topic. But before we start, I would like to make an acknowledgement of the traditional owner of the Gadigal country on where we are currently recording. And acknowledge as well the people of the 𝗩𝗓𝗗𝗘 nation from this country, and would like to pay my respect to their elders, past and present, as well as emerging leaders.
Thank you. So, should we just dive into the episode then, Laura?
Yeah.
How are you?
Well, I feel fidgety. I think I'm feeling sluggish, but also so fidgety because so many things are happening at the moment in my life. Mm-hmm. And I think we will have the time to deep dive into this during the Pulse, which is episode 4. So please stay tuned.
Yeah.
But by the time this episode will be out, probably this will have already happened. So that's good. But I'm currently going through some layoff with my team, and I have to think about redesigning the model of my team, and plus boys drama, works drama. Thankfully my health is good.
Amen.
I had some feedback about some of the tests that I've been undergoing the last few weeks while starting this podcast with my scare of having a breast cancer. I would have to talk about this as well because it was a bit of a really stressful experience.
Yes.
But at least everything is good. I'm not going to have new boobs. My falling boobs are going to still be there.
Wow. I mean, talk about trying to look for the bright side of breast cancer. I'm going to have new perky boobs. Is that what you were thinking?
Yeah, I was trying, I was trying. I was trying.
Oh, well, my boobs hit the knees. I'm 40 years old and I'm okay with my boobs touching the knees. They're not quite there yet. So,
How are you, Stephanie?
I'm really good. This is the week after my big birthday, my 40th birthday. And it's also a week after opening my new salon. And it's almost like this is a calm, settling week for me, I think. Because last week it was all, organizing and do I have the gathering for my 40th? Do I not have the gathering? It was all overwhelming. I'm turning 40, having to deal with that. But now that it's happened, I'm more calmer now, and I'm not thinking about all the projects that I've taken on so far this year as overwhelming anymore, because I had a moment of silence with myself at the back of last week, actually, the end of last week, and I just thank God for manifesting everything that I've asked for. And now I just needed to figure out how I am going to put it all together, because I had to really sit with myself and say, is this a bit too much? It's not too much. I am capable of handling it. When I look at, we always ask what woman inspires you. My top woman who inspires me, not just because she has money, but just her life story, is Oprah Winfrey.
Mm-hmm.
And God, and she juggles how many companies and how many projects.
Yeah, but she has a staff too.
Yeah, but
she definitely has a...
Well, yeah, but I think even when you have a team, you still need to oversee a lot of the things. So it's still on you. You still have to overlook at stuff and agree or not agree. And I think a normal person might still find that overwhelming. I think that's what I'm getting at.
I know you were really excited about like those upcoming 40s. She
Yes,
was
I
like,
was.
oh, I'm going to be 40s and thriving. I remember at the Valentine's night. And then you actually had your 40 where you've been celebrated like the queen that you are,
Thank you.
as
I
you
was.
should.
Yeah.
And does it feel 40 plus 1 week? So now you're just over 40. It's not just you're 30, you're over 40.
It feels better than I thought what my 40s would be when I was in my 20s. Now, when I was in my 20s, oh my God, when I think about 40, I wasn't necessarily excited about being 40. And this is because I just thought, oh my God, I'm probably going to have these 10-year-old, because I thought I'll have kids in my 30s. Probably have like these young 10-year-olds running around and living with a man and doing school runs. Oh my God. I used to dread that. And not because, as Laura said, what, you wasn't excited about living with a man. No, I wasn't excited about living with a man because I thought that's just what I will have to do because I'm getting to that stage. But what I actually wanted to do, I didn't know at the time. And I knew I would do something because that's just my personality. I would find something to do. But would it be something that I love, something of my choosing, something that I enjoy? I didn't think that was going to be the case. So I was a bit apprehensive about 40. I didn't really know. I didn't know what it was going to be like. But that's not actually the case. You know, I live exactly in the city I want to live, in the suburb I want to live, and I do exactly what I want to do when I want to do it, the job that is. So this is actually better. That is what 40 has been for me. I'm looking forward for this next 10 years to see what I can do.
Yeah.
Yeah. So should we start the pod?
We wanna just continue to explore on like the the empowerment of sharing stories.
So in saying that, I want to start with you, Laura. What does it mean to share your story as a woman?
I'm not sure. Like I'm thinking too much of my gender when I'm sharing a woman, but I'm kind of aware that like we have a sister circle, so like it's really about like as women like sharing. I would say like I think for me sharing a story, like I actually found that empowering.
In what way? In what way would you say that it empowers you to share your story?
Well, because first of all, I know I'm going to be heard. I know I'm going to be having my perspective heard.
Yeah.
And just that itself is empowering. So, like, I think shout out to, like, the people that are actually listening to me because they're giving me this like, like this feedback that's coming back as well.
Yeah.
So this is the first thing, like the empowerment of it. And then what I also really like is like I could just be in front of a mirror and like tell my stories, but I also really like when like I'm getting something back from it. And then when I have like some great conversationalist like you that is gonna not even listen but provide perspective, ask questions that are gonna challenge me, and I'm just gonna be like, okay, that's what it means maybe.
Yeah.
And lately I needed a lot of that, like with what I've been going through, and then getting those perspectives. So yeah, I think this is what that means for me, sharing stories.
And what about you listening? Well, actually, should I just share my perspective about, and then we'll go into the next question? Well, what sharing, as you said as well, like I'm just going to echo what you said a lot because it resonates with me, is to be able to just release that from me, like holding it in and not be able to really figure it out. But when you share it and the person almost mirrors you, like gives you a perspective that perhaps was a blind spot to you, right? So, and then I think that's what, you know, there's spiritual beliefs that says that we are all one, essentially, right? So we are all one. We are all one Christ mind, essentially. So you and I are not really separate from one another. So, and this is why it's easy for us to feel empathy and compassion for one another. Because if you see somebody's pain, you feel it. In fact, when you see people who don't want to listen to people because maybe they're holding too much of their own stuff, that it feels like listening to somebody else feels like adding more painful experience onto themselves. So sharing, when somebody is willing to open their ear to listen to you, they're able to maybe be like, maybe you're not seeing it from this perspective. Have you considered this? Or this is how I see it. And sometimes I feel pain can mask us because we feel, our brain sometimes likes to feel like if we can think about the worst case scenario, that in a way is protecting us from the outcome or the downfall of hearing the worst case scenario. But when somebody offers you that perspective, it's hope. You know, it's almost like there's hope for this situation. Like, I'm not forsaken, and I'm not. Most importantly, I am not alone.
Yeah. And actually, like, it's good what you're saying. It just reminds me of, like, I was talking with one of my friends, and she was telling me she just started to date the guy, like, and it was like maybe 3 years ago or 2 years ago. Now she's married and she has a kid with him. Yeah. So just to let you know. But she was telling me that the guy, he stay friends with his ex. Like, for him, it's people that has been out in their life for such a long time. Like, it's people that he loved and cared for at some point. So, like, he's not gonna just, like, get away, like, if they break up amicably and, like, you know, like, because just they grown out of each other, he's still gonna be friends. And she hate that. She has I think she's insecure in some ways, in some aspect. So then jealousy kicked in, and then she's like, well, like, he shouldn't. And what was really interesting is, like, she had a group of friends, and then, like, she shares these stories about her partner, and like, oh, she was feeling not good about that, and then, like, the majority of them were like, well, that's true. He shouldn't be friends with his ex-girlfriend, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't make sense. And, like, and it's interesting because, like, she shared that with me, and I had a completely different perspective.
Yeah.
I was like, well, like, you know, like, it doesn't bother me as much. Like, you know, it's all about how he's able to, like, just bring us security and make her feel safe.
Yeah.
In the fact that he's just, like, keeping on having relationship with past girlfriends. And she was like, oh, I never thought about this. Like, and, like, I have to admit, like the people that I was around, like, we kind of have the same type of mindset. So like, you're the first one bringing me this perspective.
Yeah.
And I think that was quite powerful for her, because, like, it just helped her to just, okay, maybe, you know, like, I don't know if I'm overacting or not, but, like, you know, like, there's definitely, like, more to it, and it's probably just not my perspective or what I think is happening for the guy that I should take in account.
Yeah. I mean, again, like, I'm really trying. I wanted to go on a tangent about that story, but I'm really trying to stay. My ADHD can take me, and before we know, we're talking about something else completely different.
That's okay. I'm here to bring you back. Don't worry.
Yeah.
But like keep no, but like I'm keen to hear like what's the tension for you from this story. Don't worry about that.
No, like that perspective, I feel like it's great, because her initial reaction sounded like all of us when we're, especially when it comes to a romantic relationship, where we think that we need to follow these guidelines, can't be friends with your ex, can't do, and all these things. But it actually is an opportunity now to expand, because if you are, not to say to ignore her feelings about exes or whatever, but it's more so to like, is this a real concern about you being friends with an ex, or is this my own jealousy? Is this something that stands alone, or is this really about what I've observed about your friendship, or is it just a generic rule that may not apply to this? Then it allows the person to expand a little bit more, because this is what relationships are supposed to be about, right? To mirror us and allow us to deal with our trauma or our own personal issues. So yeah, so that's what I saw from that.
And I like that because like, you know, like, and I just like, it just made me realize like Pooja always said that, oh, Laura, you're such a gossip queen, because I love listening to stories.
Yeah.
I love, you know, when
Yeah.
people like tell me, and I'm just like, oh, okay, tell me what's the perspective. Like, even
Yeah.
if I'm not even related from far,
Yeah.
I'm just like, oh, what happened with your neighbor? Tell me.
Yeah, of course. I'm the same.
I love that because like it's like I found that so enriching. And then like listening to all those, and then listening to all those stories just bring you like such a different mindset, and you're like, oh, okay, those people think like that. I would have never thought this, and it's so great. And I found that so like enriched, I would say.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. How can listening to others' experience contribute to your healing?
I can take in account different type of thinking, of mindset. I learned that from my ex, like you know, like with the one that you know. We like he had such a different way of thinking than me, and it was sometimes so frustrating, I have to admit.
But I also find that so, like, I also find that that's what is incredible about the world, like that we see things differently.
Yeah.
And even though we might in that situation in your relationship wasn't favorable to your relationship, that you saw things completely differently like that, but it makes everything out. Like when people talk about my truth, yes, it's your truth.
Yeah.
It's not personal. Like your ex acting a certain way, it's not personal to you. That is his lens through that is his worldview. Everything he's lived up until that point has made him view things in this way. Yeah. So, and I find that is incredible. So I don't have to hold anybody, like, I don't have to hold anybody in accountable to anything, or I don't have to hold anything against anybody, because I know that the way that the world has been shaped is what's giving him that perspective.
Yeah.
So it's easy for me to forgive in that way.
Yeah, and not even like without thinking of forgiving or accepting it. Definitely, it's gonna have to be. But I think like for me, it just had to make me accept that okay, there's a different way of thinking, and mine is not always true, or is not always like, you know, the only way. And like I have to admit, like maybe before him I was kind of a bit like that, or like I was to some extent, but definitely with him I just had to always, because for everything I would just thought that like sometimes I would just think that, oh my god, he's doing that just to piss me off.
Exactly. So that's that. But that's what I'm saying. We take it so personally, and it's easier to say goodbye to a situation if we get there, because we know that we just are living in two separate worlds.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, it's not personal.
And once you start having this mindset, it's amazing because you're really open to, like, when you share your stories,
Yeah.
to like feedback, to okay, have you like when people try to advise you, or when you're like just even trying to process things, have you thought about this way, or have you thought about thinking that this is what's happening for him or for her in what you've been going through? And it just helped me on so many things, in friendship, with my parents, with my family, with my sisters, like just to like, okay, like this is what I lived, this is my experience, and this is like my view on the story. But at the end of the day, that's just like my view. And, like, people are not necessarily malicious, or people are not necessarily, they don't have bad intent. It's just, they're living their way that way. And I think these just put me just at ease on accepting some of the things that I'm going through, just because I have encountered with other people in my journey.
And yeah, I'm the same as well. I think what it has helped me, it has helped me heal my first relationships, and that's with my family. That's with my parents.
Okay, tell us more about
because they're my first relationship, so they're my first heartbreak as well.
You should see your eyes.
Trust me, I spent a lot of my adolescence and early 20s not having a great relationship with my parents, or not so much relationship, but not thinking nicely of them. But I think through doing a lot of my own work and learning to really listen, and I could listen to strangers and really be empathetic and compassionate towards a stranger. But when it comes to somebody who you love the most, or who you believe supposed to love you the most, and they've broken your heart according to your expectation of them, it's very difficult to look at them like that. It's very difficult to accept their perspective. But once I kind of established a foundation for myself and felt like I'm safe in the world regardless of their contribution, it allows me to see them as human beings. Human beings with their own stories, with their own perspective. I don't even know much of their stories. I don't even understand their life necessarily. But I just know that if they're human, it means that they're also gone through stuff, or they also experience life in a particular way. Because when you speak to them, they don't necessarily understand where I'm coming from. They don't understand what I'm so angry about. Not necessarily. It helped me heal that relationship.
So does that mean that, like, you accepting the story of your family, like,
Yeah. Well, accepting that they have a story, because I don't necessarily know the story. Accepting that perhaps they have their story, and I'm sure they did the best with what they knew. You can go down the rabbit hole of, if you have parents, you should go out and learn how to be whatever. No, but I'm here. Nothing has ever prevented me from living my life. Nothing at all. So if I really look at it, nothing. The only thing that could have prevented me is by keep wishing that they were different. But nothing else has ever. And after that, freedom. I could do whatever I wanted. But the difference between that is, well, that would be another topic once we talk about families and parents and relationship with parents. But yeah, so that's where the compassion has come from. That was my aha moment with my family, is when I, again, going to these questions about what is about listening to myself. Listening to myself was the number one, and listening to my pain and having to meet myself with my pain. that was a turning point for me.
Like for me, like just by instinct, this is what's coming up when like I can hear different perspective, I can hear those stories, and then I can like just to go back with the example with my ex getting his perspective. It's all about like, okay, accepting and being compassionate that, okay, like not everyone is seeing the same thing the same way than me, and people can just like have their own experience, and me trying to get away of judgment and be able to just like listen and then try to like empathize as much as I can, and just like, you know, like why like sometimes you hear some story and just think like, oh my god, what a wanker. But actually no, that's just someone that, you know, like because they went through this path, and that's how their lens have been built.
Yeah.
And that's why, you know, they made this type of they see their story that way, and then you just have to accept it and then just be compassionate with that.
But in accepting somebody's story when you're in pain, the mind does this weird tricks where it makes you think that if you choose to listen to somebody else while you're in pain, somebody that you expect to give you love or to relieve your pain, if you choose to prioritize their pain, then your pain is not listened to.
And is it a bit like, and I think like it's going to be super interesting from your perspective, especially as a therapist, like the bit when you're like, you need to fill your cup first, you need to regulate your emotion first.
I am number one advocate for doing that. And there's a way of doing that. Filling your cup first isn't necessarily something that you use it against other people.
Mm-hmm.
You do it knowing that everybody is capable of taking care of themselves, or I'm only limited in the way that I can take care of you. And it's not to say that, no, I can't, you know, like, because I see that a lot on social media, how the people throw it in people's faces. But I do it with love because I know that you're fully capable of doing, or I just don't have the capacity.
Yeah.
Right now, I just don't have the capacity to do that for you right now. And it's like, for me, I feel like I don't, and I know that there's a lot of people who feel like, you know, if I was there for this friend and then that friend has to return the same favor when when I'm also good, they may not be the right person to be there for you.
Sure.
But life is always going to offer you somebody. So don't judge that person who's there based on the proximity to you in friendship or the type of relationship you have. The universe is providing somebody there. That's how I've learned to take it. Like I said, I was raised by the planet. Basically, somebody was always there. So I could never say I was sure because my parents were. No, somebody was. If it wasn't my grandmother, if it wasn't my aunties, somebody was always there. So somebody is always going to be there, whether that's a nurse at the hospital when somebody's always around.
Yeah, I see what you mean. The only thing though is like, okay, let me just give you an example just to challenge a little bit what you just said. Let's say that, you're going to a really rough time. Like, okay, it's me last week or 2 weeks ago,
Yeah.
learning that, like, Laura, you have 3 lesions in the boobs.
Yeah.
You may have breast cancer. We need to give you biopsy, whatever. And then my partner is not there, but yes, Steph is there, or like the nurse is there.
Yeah.
Like, this is gonna piss me off because, like,
yeah. And you have the right to be pissed off, I would say.
Yeah. And then, like, so then there is some expectation.
Yeah,
still.
but I'm not saying that there isn't. It's something that maybe you both can grow from. Maybe that is something that opens up for him the realization of inability to handle stuff like that, like challenging stuff, hard stuff, and you can bring up, but to hold him to the nail to the cross, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. I would say, like, what would be, like, you know, like one lesson that you got away from, like, someone else's experience?
I'm going to quote my mentor in my head, Oprah Winfrey, again. my big auntie in my head, Oprah Winfrey, to say that that I learn from nearly everybody I've encountered. And she said that on her show, she learned a lot from her guests, so she didn't make those mistakes. Of course, we always make, but try to learn from other people so you don't make those mistakes. And that's just in terms of mistakes. There's a lot that I've learned from my family, like a lot that my family has been my first teacher. A lot that I've learned not to do from my family. But there's also a lot that I've learned to do for my family, like just in my, because they don't really know how to fill their own cup first, and when they end up doing it, they do it out of resentment because they've given up too much of themselves. So they get really angry when they do it, whereas I've kind of learned to fill my cup first and unapologetic about it. But when I say no to them, I'll say, "Oh, you'll be all right. You can handle it. You're fine," or whatever. Like, you're capable of doing it. You're fine. You can handle it. And they're just like, "Oh."
I learned that from you, like
Wow.
boundaries.
Yeah.
You know, like, to be fair, like I'm quite guilty of the first scene that you mentioned, like, you know, like pouring in people's cup first and then pouring in mine last. Like, and I think this is definitely the fact that I'm the eldest of like a big family, and really early on, at a really young age, I had to take on like this big role in my family.
Yeah.
And so then, like, just like, you know, like, I was a mini mom, so I have to care for all my siblings.
So they tried to make me that, and I was like, I don't want to do that.
You rejected it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good on you. I didn't. And I think, like, it's literally, like, I feel like it's only maybe like those last 12 months that I've been slightly a bit better.
Yeah.
To, like, just be like, well, no, you know, like, I want to preserve my social battery. I don't want to be with this group of women at this time because I just want to be around this woman. Or I've been really selecting.
Like I said to my father, like, if I do it your way, I would just hate you. Like, I wouldn't want to do. And I don't want to hate you. Like, I would just resent you, and I don't want anything to be an obligation. Everything has to be a choice. I do it because I choose to do it, because I want to do it, because I have the space to do it. And if I am, from my mother's side, I am the eldest. If I am the leader of the family, what leadership is bringing up everybody capability, increasing capability. So I have to show everybody what they are capable of and let them take care of it. So when my family wanted to be like, oh, but you've got, you can put this much of it. No, what can each and every single one of you do? So then we really are thriving. Right? Because you all have it. You all have something to offer.
Hey, listen, learn. Huh? Listen, learn. Wow. Well, that's it for today. I think, like, we kind of like went around the circle for this one.
Oh, I know. But you know what? The theme of it was, well, I didn't ask you the same question, Laura.
I just replied to it. I just like went through it. I share my lesson.
Oh, okay. Yeah. You did say that you learned this from it. Yeah, absolutely. Wow. So we should end the pod. Well, that's the close of this week's circle. If you've taken anything from this conversation, do let us know in the comment section. If you have any question you like our opinion on, you can email us on the sistercirclepodcast@gmail.com. That's the sistercirclepodcast@gmail.com. Join us next week in a new circle. Until then, you have a great week.
Thank you.